to Track podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting here next to
Miguel Ramirez, and we have our special guest, Joe Palumbo. Welcome, Joe.
Pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's how you decided to set off the podcast.
Hey, we're in New York. And
that's what you think of.
Fits.
That's what you think New York is.
Yo, what's up?
I think Yo is pretty fitting in New York.
Right?
You got to set it off the right way. That New York attitude. You got
Yes. We're pretty excited to be here with you, Joe. We're excited to hear your story.
Yeah.
You are a successful entrepreneur, a family man. You've gone through some things. You've grown through some things. And we're excited to hear your story. First of all, you are related to this gentleman next to you who is my husband? No.
Yeah.
Yes, I am related to this guy over here who's your husband. This young, strapping man. We're cousins.
That's very cool.
So,
all right.
So, yeah, we just, Joe, he's our cousin, and you've done really well. So we just kind of wanted to talk to you about your story, your background, and the things that you do. So for those of you watching the podcast, you can see that the setting is a little bit different, right?
Yes.
We're shooting this in Joe's office, and you can see all the trophies, baseball trophies, and we're here at his facility. I mean, this is a facility.
Yeah.
This is not like a little gym thing. No, this is a facility. Like they do like professional baseball training, workouts, football training, all kinds. Well, tell us a little bit about what you have going on here.
We have two businesses that are in here, Max Effort Training and One More Rep Athletics and Fitness. So Max Effort Training is professional baseball, softball trainers. My brother and my other partner, Brad Jackson, who is a former pro athlete, are partners with me. My brother does all the back office, and Brad does the training and back office. And I do, like I've done for years, most of the marketing and sales and stuff like that. Then we have One More Rep Athletics and Fitness. Our other partner there is a gentleman named Chris Mano. Chris, a former NFL player. He played with the Chiefs, and he played with the Panthers. Phenomenal, humble human being. No, he's not a Packer. We're not even going to use that. Or a Giant. Or a Giant.
Scratch.
That's cool, though.
He's a phenomenal human being. We do strength conditioning. Our general manager is Kelly Schlegel. She is she'll get mad at me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway, Kelly. She was a top 5 Maxim CoverGirl finalist.
Wow.
So she's in great shape. She trains our athletes, does a great job. And just thank God we're very blessed at what we have. And being an entrepreneur is something that when you're actually doing it, you don't really think about it. It's actually weird. You actually just kind of do it. And, I heard President Trump one time say something. I saw him going back 15 years. He was the keynote speaker when I was in my prior business in transportation. And he said, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And there's a lot of truth to that. You put the work in, you put the time in, and success is going to come. Sometimes not right away, but it does come.
And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Joe before all the success. The things that where are you from?
So, well, I think that's pretty obvious, right?
Right.
I'm born and raised in Queens, New York.
All right.
Yeah.
Middle class, hardworking family. My mom and dad, fantastic people. Both worked. We grew up with bunk beds and box fans, and unlike now, my parents, they gave us everything they could, but they also, had to watch things a little bit more than we do because they didn't have that type of, financial, I guess luck that we had in the hard work that they did. So I met a Long Island girl, got married her, and we have 3 wonderful kids, 14, 12, and 7, and moved out to the island and been there ever since.
So were they, your parents, were they first generation here?
My mom was born and raised in Bogota, Colombia, came over on a scholarship, met my dad on a blind date, who was born and raised in New York, went from Brooklyn to Queens, met my mom, and his family came over on the boat, so to speak, from Italy.
Okay.
They were from Sicily, Palermo to be exact. And they were old school immigrants. I mean, that's just who they were. I mean, a lot of immigration in the news today and stuff like that. But I think immigrants are the backbone of America. I mean, it's what makes us different than everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, that you could be whatever you want to be, come over here, and if you're willing to work hard, you can be successful.
That's right.
Yeah. One thing that you just said about the saying that Trump had when he was the keynote speaker, the harder you work, the luckier you get, right? And that's there was one thing that I heard a while back it says that luck is when hard work meets opportunity. And that's something that, like, when I heard that the first time, it just kind of stuck in my head. See, and just like you're saying, it seems like the people that are always working, they're the lucky ones. And it's like, well, I don't know about that. It's the work. They're out there. If you're working, you got your eyes, your ears open, and you see the opportunities that are available, as opposed to like sitting on the couch doing nothing. And then you're like, well, oh man, that guy is so lucky. You have no idea what they've been doing.
I was fortunate. I was at the baseball writers dinner last year, and one of the persons receiving awards was Giancarlo Stanton. And one of the speeches they did was he was talking and said that his dad used to come home and tell him, get off the couch, we're going to work. We're going to go work and hit. And it worked out for Mr. Stanton, obviously, as he's a big league ball player. But I was contracted a couple of years ago, and they asked me to do a sales seminar and motivate people and teach them success and all that wonderful stuff. And I walk in there and I go, everybody, take out, your pens, your pads, your everything else. I said, we're going to pretty much wrap this up in about 5-10 minutes, and we can all be done for the day. So everybody gets really eager and attentive, and they're like, wow, this is great. And they take them out, and I go, okay, ready? Capital H, A-R-D, new word, capital W, O-R-K. We're done.
Yeah.
And everyone looks at you, and they give you that face.
Like, what?
That's the secret, right?
Like, what's your problem, guy? And it was, guys, everything. I don't care what it is you do in life, whether you're an athlete, a doctor, lawyer, you own a business, whatever the case is, or maybe just a good middle class family. Hard work is what's there, because wealth doesn't define success in my book.
Right, I agree.
Wealth is don't get me wrong. I mean, money does solve problems. I mean, anyone who says it doesn't, but it doesn't define who a human being is. Doesn't define success. Success to me is happiness in what you do, being able to do the little things that you want to do, and being able to do sometimes a little bit more. Going on that vacation to Disney, you don't have to be an entrepreneur or some very wealthy person to do that. You can just be a really good family. And to me, that's what success is defined by. And those people work hard, no different than anyone else.
Yeah.
Yes. So did you wake up one morning after graduating high school saying, I'm going to be an entrepreneur? Like, where did that spirit come from? Like, what did you have to go through to get to where you are today?
Oh, God.
And I want the raw.
Yeah, what was the beginning like?
I want to know the beginning.
She does this to all our guests. She tries
but you know what? Because
grill them.
That's what's going to help people. That's what's going to, when people are starting a business, we've been through it. You go through the struggles. You go through the heartache, the heartbreak, and everything in between. And
a lot
that's
of peaks
what
and valleys.
So where did the work ethic come from? The hard work? Was that something that you learned from your parents?
My mom and dad are fantastic. My dad, unfortunately, passed away early at 56 from cancer. But one of the hardest working men, a fantastic mentor, someone who really defined that there is no end, that he will just go 12 rounds. My mom, the same thing. I watched them work hard together. Just that, my brother and I were always close, and our attitude was always, you can't outwork me. You might be bigger, you might be stronger, you might be everything else, but you can't outwork me. I can control that myself. I can't control how tall or strong, but I can't control my work ethic. So I come out of high school. I graduated Holy Cross in 1989. I went to Queens College, lasted, oh my gosh, not even 2 years. I hated it, hated college. And I'll be the double standard with my kids, because I'm going to tell them I need a 4-year degree, and maybe times are different. I come out of college and after 2 years, I just started working, bounced around. I finally landed a job at this company called Hadco Aluminum, and I'm working there. And I'm making my 40 grand a year, and I got this Ford Taurus that they give me, and this big block phone at the time, and I thought I arrived.
It didn't look like
Not
this.
the one with the
not
backpack.
like nothing like that. Looked something like a brick that with an
Yeah.
antenna.
That you could beat somebody
You
with.
definitely could have beat somebody. That or break your window. And it was. I thought I had arrived. I said, "This is great. This is great." And it's funny how fate and opportunity. So there's my brother-in-law at the time now. He says, you should tell your boyfriend at the time. So I'm dating his sister, obviously. And he says, you should tell him to come down and meet this guy. He's some sales guy, and he might do well. So I say, all right, whatever. Well, I guess I'll go down there. So we go to this place called the Living Room in Great Neck. And I meet this guy named David. And we won't go through last names, but I meet a guy named David. And David is his hotshot sales broker, something out of the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah.
a broker, one of the smoothest talkers, verbal blend I've ever seen.
Verbal blender.
Verbal
I've
blender,
never
yeah.
heard that. Write that down.
He was amazing. I mean, listen, I learned a lot. He was a big mentor, believe it or not, as maybe crafty as he was with regard how business dealings were. He was a very smart guy. And he says to me, do you want to come work for me here? This hot shot. You want to come work for me? So I was nervous. I had my 40 grand a year, and he goes, I'll give you 10% commission on whatever you sell. So I take a shot, and I say, listen, you pay me 3 months up front and cover my medical for 3 months. And I promise you I'll be the best salesman you ever had.
So during this time,
Damn.
were you like on the verge of getting married? Did you and Shirley?
We were engaged.
You were engaged.
Getting ready to pay for a wedding. And,
Wait,
yeah.
hold up. Okay, so you're telling me right now that you had a wedding that was approaching, and you decided,
I'm gonna get it.
11
I'm gonna
months
do
away.
something else.
I'm gonna jump. 100% commission? Is it 100% commission or?
It was 100% commission after 3 months. He signs on and says, so why should I do this for you? And I says, because I'm going to be the best salesman you ever had. And he said, I'm very confident in that.
Wow.
And I said, if I'm not, I'll give you back the money. So he says, okay.
Damn. So you're betting on yourself.
I did. I've always been confident in betting on me because I know what I'm prepared to do. And it's funny. So we go out that December because I start in January and I'm getting married November 9th of that next year. And I start and
And you leave a full-time job.
full-time gig,
steady
full-time
income.
everything. And credit to
Get it.
my wife who at the time I go, what do you think? And I speak to her and I speak to my brother because I trust them both. And she says, babe, if not now, when? When I'm still working.
This is like a movie.
If we got to make ends meet, we'll make ends meet. And I asked my
Yeah.
brother, and he says, you were born to do this. He says, take a shot.
Wow.
So I take a shot. I'm petrified. And we go out in December, and I'll never forget, there's all these other broker guys, and we go to this place. It was in the city. And we had like $200 on us. And we order like 2 drinks. It was like $37. And I'm petrified we're going to run out of money. And I'm like, don't order. Whatever you do, order something. Don't order appetizers, nothing.
Anybody want some water? Water?
Right,
Anybody?
right. No, we're good. We'll nurse this all night. We're fine. I know the beer has stopped bubbling, but we're good. And so that January starts, and I remember, their top guy, this guy Ryan at the time, he pretty much kind of shuns me. And I'm a very competitive person. I love to win. I love to compete. Nothing drives me more than going head to head. Win, lose, or draw, because you don't always win. Sometimes you lose. But, I love the competition. So we go at it, and the first month he beats me very slightly in January. I squeak by him in February, and he's on the commission board for total sales. And I win March, I win April, I win June. It got to a point where by the summer, they were giving me their clients, and I had hired 3 other guys to get all my leads.
Yeah.
And it worked out pretty well, and made a lot of money. I mean, did very well with it. Very, very well with it. And it led me to start another company from it. I knew David what he was, and I knew it would never really work out. And I started Advanced Credit, and I opened up a company in Boston, and I have a company in Boston and New York.
Wow. So that was the beginning of your entrepreneur.
It was a gut check. You know,
Yes.
it was once you get past that initial, you know, it's like fighting.
Fear. It's fear.
I grew up
Fear of
loving
failure.
Yep, absolutely. I grew up loving boxing and baseball, and I played all the sports. But in boxing, it was until you got hit. It kind of the fight started at that point. Like you kind of like, I don't know, you got past that moment of being nervous because it kind of started. So I guess that I had done well with it. So I'm down in Boston, and I'm going a week on, a week off, and then I have this epiphany. So I walk into, true story, we had a house on the loft and a Beamer, and we were...
You had all the nice stuff.
One of my
Nice
clients
toys.
was an affiliate with a professional football team, and he was coming in and purchasing debt and everything else, and because that's what we had done. My job was buying and selling receivables. So what happens next is... I walk into the gym, and it's like a Thursday night, and it was quiet. It was a hotel gym, and it was just quiet. And I said, I don't want to do this anymore. And I know
Just
it seems
like that.
crazy.
Just like that. I don't want to do this anymore.
Crazy, Sonia. It seems nuts. Some people think I probably got a screw loose. I probably do, but
But it's done you well.
I've been blessed. I always thank God first. But I mean, I think you got to be a little crazy to be good at something that is next level. I don't think.
Yeah.
You got to have a little bit of a little edge, so to speak. So we sell everything. We sell advanced credit, and we take the money and we go and buy a company called Camelot Limos. And it's
How long after was this?
within a year we sold it. Within a year we go buy Camelot Limos, and it's supposed to be this investment with like a 20% return, guaranteed principal, and like 5 months into it, we're going to lose our money if we don't take it over. So my brother and I jump in feet first with my sister-in-law, Lori, and we just start working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's a little, not a little, that's a lot humbling.
Do you have a family at this time?
I do.
You have kids?
I do. Well, not yet. In 2005 is March of 05 is when I have a pregnant wife at the time.
Okay.
And March of 05 is when we take over Camelot Limos. And my first child, my son JJ, is born in June of 05. And I'm working like an animal. And, my wife, again, she's a good girl. And she gives me the, you got 5 years and this little guy is going to need you and want to hang out with you and stuff. So whatever you're going to do,
do it.
Now's the time.
Now would be a good time.
That's an awesome wife, though.
She's a good girl.
To have
She's
your
good
back, from the beginning, because, you're kind of crazy.
A little bit,
And she supports your crazy.
She does. She knows I think I only function
That's
on
awesome.
crazy. So now at this point, we're running Camelot Limos, and I tell you the truth, talk about entrepreneurs and business. If I could have gotten our money back the first 5 years of Camelot Limos, I would have done it. It was brutal.
Like you would have sold it?
Sold it. Please, just give me my money back. I don't want to do this.
Just break even.
Break even, please. I didn't even think a slight loss at one point because it was that brutal. I mean, you went from a whole different finance world to cleaning puke.
So how
Man,
was
but it looks
what-
so pretty.
It does. It pukes
Like-
awesome.
no.
That's me snapping. Sorry.
So how how was what were you thinking, like going from a financial business
Yes.
to because that's what I didn't know about the financial business. Obviously, I knew about the Camelot limos, but now you start and a sports business, and I'm like, what is that thought process to go from finances to limousines
Yeah.
to
But wait,
fitness?
Yeah, let's not go to fitness yet, because he has an amazing story with this Camelot, business, and
I'm just saying,
the mindset.
quite honestly, the balls to just go from something that
yes
to something completely new.
Funny part, Miguel, is I didn't know anything. I never walked into a room with a bunch of businessmen and felt I was the smartest guy. I don't have a big degree. I'm not, I don't pretend to be smarter than I am. I have good street smarts and common sense, and I look at things for what they are. And don't get me wrong, after 15 years in business, you could probably be an attorney or an accountant because you've been through so many things. I had a buddy of mine one time I used to go to lunch with. He was friends with my dad. And he owned a very successful karting business. And we were sitting down at lunch, and I'm like, hey, I would ask him a question. He always had the answer. And I said, how are you so smart? You and my dad always have the answer. He goes, well, it's experience. The longer you do something, you've made mistakes. And believe me, I've made a ton of them. And being an entrepreneur and being successful in business is making a lot of mistakes. It's 5 rules that I preach to my kids and whoever's listening. And rule 1, be a good God-fearing person. Say thank you, say please. Common courtesy is free. Be nice to the people that no one else are. It goes a long way. Rule number 2, I tell them, get good grades, because whatever you're doing in the sports world, between 20 and 40, it's going to end. What's in here is forever, and being smart, and it goes a long way. Rule number 3, compete. I think we've gotten away in this world today where it's okay to be average. It's okay to be complacent, and I don't agree with that. Compete, win. You're going to compete in business. You're going to compete to find a girl or a guy. Then you're going to compete in business. Life
or
is
even if you have a job, you're going to compete against somebody else to get another position.
Or grow.
Yeah.
Rule 4, don't be afraid to fail. You're going to fail. No one bats 1,000. You're going to have ups and downs. Real success is what you do when you fail. The adjustments you make after you've made the mistake. Can you endure it? Everyone's happy when they're, on top of their game. It's what do you like when it's a tough day?
Yes.
Yeah. And then the last rule is just have fun. You get one go around at this life. And listen, it's easy, and on a microphone to say things are hunky-dory and everything's great. It's not always like that. Having fun is enjoying your wife, enjoying your kids, enjoying the little things. I was never a guy that needed to fly private or something like that. I'm very happy with a burger and a Corona. That's just,
good.
It sounds really good right by now.
You have any?
I wish. I've been putting mine on here. I could give Corona some free publicity. But those are the rules that you live by, as far as I'm concerned. And if you do that, you're going to be successful in whatever you do. It doesn't have to be sports or music or art or whatever your given talent is, whatever you enjoy. Because if you're not having fun doing it, it's going to be short-lived at some point.
Right, right. Man, those are some awesome rules. Like, you just broke it down.
Yeah.
It took a lot of years to find those rules and a lot of humbling along the way, but they do work if you apply them and you realistically try and follow them over the years.
Yes.
So your passion was baseball, has always been, you said baseball,
sports.
boxing, sports, and you had the financial company, you had the limousine company, and then eventually those turned into a business, which is part of your lifelong passion.
How
Got
long did you
lucky.
own Camelot?
14 years.
Before you sold it.
Recently sold it this year. My last day was June 27th of 2019.
That blows my mind. Okay.
Two investors came in and they bought the company and quote unquote, the check cleared, and my brother and I, we were running this business parallel, for 2 years. And, even as you get more experience in business, we had to suck it up at one point because we wanted to keep both buildings. So, you had to mac and cheese it a little bit and hot dog it a little bit and, tighten your belt. But again, we've been lucky with the girls we married and the lives we live where, we didn't have a lifestyle where we needed too much. We were really cool with, my favorite place in the world is watching my kids compete.
Yeah.
So, date night with the wife. Those are the things that I enjoy.
So it helps when you're not living outside your means. When it comes
so true,
Yeah.
Miguel. So true. So many people, they make a little bit of money, and all of a sudden they forget who they were, or they forget what got them there.
Yeah.
A lot of times is you people win the lotto. And then they go broke. And you say, well, how does that happen? You were making $100,000 last year. Now you're making $100,000 a month on interest. How could you possibly screw that up?
And then when it's all gone, they're even worse than they were before they hit the lotto.
I have no sympathy. It's your fault. I mean, you give me lotto and you tell me I would just, I'm fine. I would just live within my means. I wouldn't even want to tell anybody.
Yeah.
And, just live a nice, humble life. But that's me. I mean, there's some people that, if they've never had anything, sometimes, they go out and they got to buy the crazy watches and the cars. And if you weren't driving a Bentley, what makes you think you need one now?
Right.
Go buy a nicer car than you had. But
I'll go buy the nicest Toyota they got.
you may upgrade a little bit.
Okay, I'll get a Lexus.
I don't think you need a Rolls Royce.
I'll get a Lexus.
Lexus is nice.
So with Camelot, you started with how many cars?
3 cars. We have 3 antiques, a shitty website, and a pretty beat phone number.
And when you sold it?
32 cars, 10,000 runs a year, and about 1,000 weddings a year. We were in about 28 catering halls. We were one of the biggest, if not the biggest, on Long Island, in Nassau. We were very blessed. I mean, we had like over 25 people that worked for us. At our peak, we had Phantom, Rolls Royces, Bentleys, antiques, buses, etc. And it was a surreal day. You sold the company. It was just time. I mean, we never had really an emotional attachment to any company we had.
And I think that's the key, because a lot of business owners they have successful businesses, but there's a time where they're no longer happy doing what they're doing.
Not just that, but they're doing it for the wrong reasons. Again, you got to go back to rule number 5 and have fun. When you are, making money's fun. And anyone who says it isn't is not telling you the truth. No one goes into business to say, well, I'm going to go there and get by. And I don't know. You're making XYZ. You can start to rationalize the pain. You can rationalize being miserable. But a lot of people are different, where I enjoy being with my family. I mean, I've met tons of business owners who, they just rather be at their business making money. They don't care if their kid's good, bad, or indifferent in anything. They don't care if their wife wants them there or not.
The business is number one.
Right. That was never, my brother and I, that was never our thing. It was never where it was all about making money. Money was a byproduct, and don't get me wrong, it's a great byproduct. I mean, you're making more, and I mean, we're blessed. We've probably exceeded anything we've ever thought we were going to do in life. I mean, neither one of us has a college degree. Neither one of us, ever looks and says we're the smartest guy. And even though my brother could be an attorney or an accountant, he's one of the smartest human beings I've ever met in my life.
So you picked a great partner.
I was blessed. I mean, I got a good brother. We're very close. We've never argued about money. My dad passed away. We just said, give it to mom. It's we got a good mom. Who's always, worried about us, going on 50 years old. And she's like, are you okay? You sick? And my poor wife's got to put up with hearing, do I need chicken soup at 50, and did you take care of my little boy?
So that's like a worldwide thing. Chicken soup, even in Colombia.
Chicken
soup.
Chicken soup.
It doesn't matter where in the world
what
you
your
are.
ethnicity is. Go have
You get
chicken
sick,
soup.
you're getting chicken soup.
Right, chicken soup.
With 7-Up.
Right.
And Vicks.
Vicks. Well, every Latino person in the world, it's about Vicks. You know,
Right.
like, I was watching a novella with my wife one time. Now, I can't even speak Spanish. I know I'm a gringo, which is horrible. And what struck me about that was, first of all, everyone's good looking. There's not a bad looking
Yeah. Oh my
person.
God, yeah.
Even the old people are like, wow,
Right.
that guy's in great shape. How was he, 60? He's tan. He's got the hair.
Right.
And there's one part where they take out Vicks.
Yeah.
I go, oh my God.
In the novella.
I go, wow, that must really work. I mean,
That's a real thing.
Wow, yeah, well, I thought I knew everything. Wow, I guess Vicks works.
I only read that in the encyclopedia.
Broke my leg.
This
Put
is real.
Vicks. We'll be good tomorrow. We'll be
Yeah,
good tomorrow.
put a bandage on it. Yeah.
So,
no.
we saw Camo limos, and then we got lucky. Then we had this building, and we had done really well the first year. We had a great partner in Brad Jackson, and he was a fantastic guy. Had a really good following coming over. Fantastic baseball guy. He had a lot of clients. And we had took over the first unit the first year, and we had done so well, we were able to expand out to the second unit. And then again, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Then we meet Chris Mano, who my brother meets to an affiliate at a gym. And great guy, sweetheart. And, he starts running one more rep. And then we expand out. And that went so well upstairs that we expanded out to the stadium side, which is like, 32 yard of indoor football and weights and everything else and shake bar and all that wonderful stuff. And, now it's surreal because, I love sports. I love sports. I love to play.
You're living, doing what you love, always loved
Yes.
to do.
Yes.
Like you're living the dream.
I'm blessed,
your
blessed
dream.
to say it. Yeah,
Yes.
The dream, people will say, so what's your end game? That's one of our things. So what's your end game? What do you think?
Yeah.
My end game is to grow old my wife and have successful kids.
That's what it's about.
Yes.
To me, that's what it's about. To me, it's that, I've always heard it put, I have this one gentleman named Joe Carletto, who was a limousine guy, who I learned a lot from. He's like a living Frank Sinatra. And Joe, he said, one time, he goes, your aspiration is to do a little bit better than your father did.
Yeah.
Than your parents did. And, I think we've been blessed to do that. So now it's more about, setting your kids up for success. And it's harder when you're an entrepreneur and you've done well because you can give them more than you got growing up because, I took 2 buses to go to high school, and it was what it was. It was cold. It was raining. It was no one was coming to get you.
Pants were frozen.
It didn't matter. Shoes. You had the little Capizios and the thin socks. And that was the 80s when I grew up, and it didn't matter because your parents couldn't get you because they were working.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas, I'm blessed my wife is able to stay home and take care of the kids, which is a job I probably wouldn't want anyway. It's not an easy job to take care of 3 kids, and, she's great with their homework and making sure their grades are good and stuff like that. All 3 of them, I got a 14-year-old son, JJ, my middle daughter, Rebecca, and my little one, my 7-year-old, Giselle. I guess I'll brag on him real quick. One's a very good athlete and a scholar student. He was a magna cum laude and 97 average. My middle one is a very good gymnast who was champion Northeast last year and won 4 golds. And then I got my baby who's 7, and we don't know, aside from giving us gray hair, we don't know what she's going to do, but she's a good little softball player.
Yeah. I've seen them. We don't get to New York as much as we would like, but we get to see them on Facebook.
We don't get to Arizona as much as we would like either, believe me.
We get to see them on Facebook, man, and they are tearing it up,
Yeah.
And I was showing Joey because Joey just got into baseball. This is his first season playing, and I was like, you got some cousins they're pretty good. I was like, and it's serious. It is not messing around. Like they got a serious,
JJ's the hardest worker I know.
I mean, ever since he was little.
I've been very blessed. He's always been a hard worker. He's a grinder. He puts the work in. He loves the work. Being surrounded by Chris and Brad and the other trainers is such a great influence around here because it's a culture, like Chris says all the time, it's a culture here with, having the mindset to be healthy and get good grades and stay away from bad and stay out of trouble. And it goes a long way. I mean, dad and mom can say a lot of things and it's all good, but at the end of the day, when the reinforcements, especially when they're teenagers, are coming from other places, it goes a lot further. It really does. It goes a lot further because they see it differently. They're a guy who played in the NFL. My son looks at it like, wow, that guy is legit, man. Whatever he says is gospel. Dad's cool and everything. Mom's cool, but
that guy made it to the
show. I played in the NFL, man. I mean, Brad, you play professional baseball. He knows what he's talking about here. So it's kind of cool, but. It all goes
awesome.
down to the hard work, and there is no substitute for it. No substitute.
Walking around the facility, when you and I were talking, and I was asking you if you would be a guest on our podcast, and I was asking you some questions, and you had mentioned that you remembered at one point in your life where all you had was $20 to give Shirley.
Yep.
And I'm walking around your facility and I'm seeing what you've been able to accomplish, and it's just mind blowing.
My wife was such a trooper. I mean, I literally gave her $20, and I said, "This is all we got with weeks. Make it last." I mean, we went without a lot, because we didn't have any choices. We had to work hard. I was building a business, and I used to keep the tips and then put all the other money back in because I was driving like crazy. And, I was, finding ways to make it happen every day. And you had no choices. You just kind of, you didn't really, it's funny, when you're actually doing it, you don't think about it. It doesn't seem that odd. It kind of seems like the norm. Like, why did everybody do this? Like, I mean, you could do what I do, right? I mean, I'm driving a car, I'm cleaning a car, I'm dealing with clients. As far as sales is concerned, I've been blessed to have a lot of success, and I've won Salesman of the Year awards and $1 Million Producer awards and stuff. And a lot of it is dealing with clients is just being honest. Transparency is big. You're not going to use the Jedi mind trick on people. People are smart. You're not going to fool anybody. And a lot of times in sales, it's believing in your product. Like when I came over here, one of the first things I did was I started going to all the classes. I took a meal plan that Kelly gave us because she's very good at what she does. And, I lost 13 pounds and put on like 6 pounds of muscle. And you're like, wow, this is amazing. But all you really did was doing what you would tell your clients to do.
You're doing the work.
Right. And in other words, I will never, or I don't feel comfortable selling something if I don't feel good about it. In other words, if I don't feel it's actually going to give you a gain or be successful for you, then how can I tell you to do it if I'm not willing to?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of that.
Yeah. So let's talk about, because you always hear this with every entrepreneur, and this is something that I've had challenges with, and it's balance. The balance between family, being an entrepreneur, and I still, till this day, think that there's no such thing as balance. Like something has to give. You just have to know what's most important to you. And I think that you hit it, when you said family. Well, that's what I've been hearing from you is family first, family first. But when you were sharing your story with us regarding building the businesses, there were times where you were working 7 days a week. And so there was no balance at that time. So at the beginning, do you feel that there is such a thing as balance when building a business?
Sacrifice takes over balance. You have to realistically put in your head what's ahead of you with an end game. It's one thing a lot of times that I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I got this great game plan and it's going to work. You have to have what I call strategy and desire. You need both. So you could have all the desire in the world and you could want to be the most enthusiastic human being I ever met. But if you don't have a game plan or a strategy, it's not going to work.
Just running in circles.
Just run around. Here we go. I don't know what I'm doing. You could be the best strategist in the world. And you have it figured out, but you're a lazy shit.
You're not doing the work.
You know what? Without the strategy, it reminds me of like those the firecrackers when you break off the stick and you light them. They're just like
they're all over the place, and eventually they burn out. Because it's like I used to listen to a guy named Brian Tracy. Brian
Tracy's awesome. Yeah,
love Brian Tracy, and one of his best analogies is an airplane. An airplane it takes off, and it has to have a big
Moments.
thrust and get up to a certain. But once it gets to a certain altitude, you can coast. When you're first starting a business, any entrepreneur will tell you that sacrifice and the discipline of having sacrifice is what gets you there. Look at any professional athlete. You say, no one just stepped on a field. There is sacrifice and work. And if there's one thing I can appreciate having a sports facility is seeing how hard these athletes realistically work to get to their goals, how much work and time they put in. But it's no different than a doctor, right, who's got to go through 4 years and then another 4 years and then 2 years of residency. And 10 years of their life, a decade of their life is given up to make it with no guarantees or anything that's going to allow them to, get a guarantee of success.
Right.
There is no guarantee.
Yeah.
So when I think out loud and say something like that, the thing that comes to my mind the most with success is you have to have discipline, have to be prepared for sacrifice, and most importantly, you have to understand what your end's going to be and what you're going to go through. You're fighting 12 rounds. Not every round is going to be yours.
Yeah.
You're not winning every round, and the rounds that you lose, you have to be prepared to take those hits and say, tomorrow will be a better day. Tomorrow's a better day. Today wasn't so good. And then there's some days when it's just like, wow, this is amazing. This is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm doing it.
That was perfect.
So you said earlier, you said that you and your brother, neither one of you have a college degree. So how do you feel about college for the kids or college in general?
Mixed emotions. We live in a different society today, and I'm just going to age myself by saying that, the 80s was a lot different than the millennials and so forth. I think college is a big deal depending upon the field you want to go into. I think a lot of people have lost touch with plumbers, electricians, contractors.
Skilled work, skilled labor.
I mean, there is a place for it. I mean, you look at a guy that builds a bridge, an engineer, and you say, well, he put his time in and he's working, or an architect or something like that. But there's still 20 guys that have to work under that guy to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Tomorrow, let your toilet back up, and
who you calling?
You said this. What do I do? So I think it is an equal. When you say balance, go back to it. It is an equal balance. Circle back to balance balance is important, but I don't think college is the end all. I think it's important based on your field. I think it rounds you out. I also think that it could be downfalls for some people who are not mature enough to handle that type of freedom. There's tons and tons of distractions, and unfortunately some people tend to allow girls or boys, depending on your gender, or drugs when you're looking for that high to make you feel like you're still having fun in life,
right?
Which is why most people, in my opinion, go to that, because you're looking for that. I still want to feel good, because I haven't found another reason.
Yep. There's an emptiness they're trying to fulfill.
So again, those emptiness is something that people deal with, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's false expectations. Like you go to college and you come out with a 4-year degree and you think you're going to get a corner office with a Rolex, a Mercedes, and a $250,000 income, and you're working part-time in the city as a bartender, living in a 1-bedroom studio that's roach infested, and you're saying to yourself, but I graduated XYZ college. How did this happen to me?
Yeah.
It's because you haven't arrived. It's no different than the guy that, he's the best player in his town, and then he goes and plays A ball and realizes, oh my God, maybe I'm not that good.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to work harder. And that's when champions are made. To me, that's when you decide who you're going to be. It's easy to give up. Yeah. It's so easy to throw the towel, and it's so easy not to do the next rep. Why one more rep was the name. It's so easy to not finish. It's so easy to make excuses and justify the excuses and blame someone else or say that's not fair.
Yeah.
Oh, well, if I would have grew up in this neighborhood, I would have had this, and they had better than me. There's a kid in the Bronx with nothing, and when he makes it, what's his excuse?
Yeah.
Or what's your excuse why he did it? So
Right.
to me, it's really what you're willing to do. And again, like one of our things is how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to succeed at what it is you're going to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if your mindset is, I want it that bad, you'll attain it. You'll attain it. You'll be the guy that I remember a story about Derek Jeter. So I got to meet Tim Raines. And, I'm there and I'm asking questions. And one of the questions I had was, Derek Jeter, man, he's my favorite. Guy's a monster. And he's a
The captain.
fantastic day. He's the greatest. And he said, Derek Jeter at one point wanted to go home. And he had this great story, it always puts a tear to your eye, where when he gets his 2000 hit, he looks up at his mom and he points to her and, says, thank you. Because he wants to quit. And he called up and he said, I want to come home. And his mom says, don't you dare. Don't you dare give up.
Wow.
And he went back to work, and we all know the story. Definitely worked out for Derek Jeter. But there's a person who at some point in his career was ready to throw in the towel, and I think that's what separates the people who you hear success of and the people you don't. It's most people just, I don't want to do it no more.
Well, that's like you were saying when you're that's kind of like getting beat. Like you were saying, when you get beat, when you lose, like for Derek Jeter, maybe at that point he felt like he was beat or he was going to lose. And like you were saying, it's what you do after that is what's important.
It's if you get humbled. I mean, I've been humbled a million times. A million times I realized I wasn't the best, or I wasn't the smartest in a room, or you even feel inferior sometimes because you're like, well, I don't have that great degree. That guy's a really smart guy. That girl, she's really brilliant, and confidence gets you through that. I've never walked into a room thinking someone was better than me.
Yeah.
I've walked into a room saying, you know what? You might be smarter or bigger or stronger, but I'm prepared to go 12 rounds with you, and I'm prepared to figure it out, whatever I don't know, and I'll go and figure it out on my own if I have to. And that confidence is what will get you through the times of self-doubt, because there's a lot of self-doubt as an entrepreneur. There's a lot of times where you're just like, I don't know if it's going to work, man. I don't want to do this, and you fantasize about getting rid of it or not doing it anymore, and what would life be like?
Is that still to this day? Or as it goes on, or you have more success, or you've dealt with it more times, like it doesn't happen as much?
It goes back to taking the first punch. Once you've taken that first punch and you realize you can take it and continue, that music plays in your head, or that,
it's like, I've been here before.
I've been here before.
I'm going to be
good.
What?
I'm going to have to figure it out. Got a little harder. Stakes are changed.
Yeah.
But you got to believe in yourself. You have to be confident in that at the end of the day, I am willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish that goal. And if you're willing to say that in your head and the switch goes on, my brother had a great analogy. He used to call us the AOL guys, like, just put it on, just keeps going. He goes, the guy just keeps going and never stops. And that's who we were for, the first, 5, 6, 7 years at our transportation business. And, then you start making money and it gets better, and then, the money numbs the hard work, and then you're able to hire more people, and then you make some more money, and that's able to justify, all the other stuff the stress, the aggravation, all the stuff that comes with running a business and having life. Again, you try not to take it out on anyone when you come home, when you're tired, and again, going back to a good wife is, she knows when to just leave daddy alone. He looks like he's had a rough day, and go eat your dinner and go watch TV or go just detox. And on the same token, it's, knowing when your wife's had a rough day, when, all 3 kids are driving out of her mind.
All right, come on, let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, why don't you go to your mom's house and just go away, because you want to kill all of us right now. I know that. You don't want to be with any of us right now.
He knows that.
I'm sure he knows. Came home and was like, I don't like any of you.
Sometimes
right
I'm just like flinching.
Right.
Oh,
You're
jeez.
stupid.
like, I'm sorry I got up today.
You know what? I like doing that at the mall, and it makes her look really bad. People think,
Who's this psycho?
I'm like,
She's
I'm trying to
she
give him a hug.
goes to like give me a pat, and I'm like, oh my god,
She's crazy.
and not again.
The mall is probably the worst place for me to ever think about going. Yeah, it's to me. We went the other day, my son and I. So we picking up a Mac for him at home for his homework and his projects, and we're good at we go there. We have a game plan. It's done.
In and out.
We are done inside 40 minutes. Done. My wife and my daughters, we stop. Let's look at this real quick. What do you think of that? And we can just, they can walk through a store with no intention of purchasing anything and just walk around, look around. What do you think? I think if we're not buying it, we should leave. That's what I think. I think I want to go home. That's what I think. But why are you taking this time out of my life? I can't get it back. Because it's true. It's so true. And it's like painful. It's like, I see people just walk around. Look at this. Wow, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, babe, are we doing any plugs today?
Yeah. Well, and if you're going to buy anything, make sure you go to oppositesattractpod.com, click on support the show, click on our Amazon link, and anything that you buy on Amazon, it helps out the show and it doesn't cost you anything else. So,
yeah.
And Amazon's a great place to shop. Yes. I will help you with your birthday because I think that
you don't have to go to the mall.
You don't.
You don't.
And look at everything.
That's the biggest part of it. That's the biggest part of it. But I got to tell you, I don't even see why you would go to a store anymore when you know that. I mean, I'm a big small business guy because I've been a big small business guy, and I think that when you support small businesses, people buy more dance lessons and gymnastics and little leagues and lessons, and I think that when you're supporting those entrepreneurs and other business people, men and women alike, that's where your hard-earned money should go. And that don't take away from the big stores that we all go to, but in my thought process is, why would I go to a big store that I know has overhead and has to charge me 15 to 20% over what MSRP would be? And I get it. You got this wonderful person that's going to come and answer a question if I have one, and you have the beautiful lights, and there's a tree up, and this is great, but I could go on Amazon and say, well, I want that. I mean, I went to the store, saw what I want. I want that. Let me click this, click that. And in 5 days, it's here.
So while you're clicking, go to
oppositesattractpod.com and click on support the show. And also make sure you go to trustinkusa.com. Yes. If you need any notaries nationwide, we have a mobile notary business that works with title companies, real estate,
law firms, and individuals as well. So
I guess the last thing I'll say and leave us all with is the most important thing to take away from being an entrepreneur, being successful, whatever you do, is never, ever, ever, ever let someone tell you it's not possible. If my brother and I had listened to all the people that told us what we were going to be in this lifetime, we wouldn't have been anything. So don't listen to anybody. Do you. Believe in yourself. Never let anyone tell you what you can or cannot be. If you're willing to work hard enough for it, you can make it happen on your own. And nothing ever exceeds hard work.
You know what? There's something that sometimes when somebody has a business or something that they've been doing and maybe it's not working out. Like, you've heard of people that are successful that did something and they quit it and started doing something else. But sometimes you feel like, well, if I quit, then you're kind of like giving up. You know
the story of 7-Up?
No, what is that?
7-Up was, it took 1 up, 2 up, 3 up, 4 up, until he got to 7-Up. True story. So you never know.
I never heard that story before.
The guy who invented stickies, the yellow stickies, was an accident. It wasn't supposed to be stickies. It was supposed to be this glue for aeronautics or something.
I just heard that in a book. Yeah.
Crazy. So you never know. That's why I say don't listen to anybody. What anybody tells you, you never know what your next, what God's going to put in front of you. I live by man plans and God smiles. You know, you got it all figured out. You're going to do all these wonderful things, and then all of a sudden something happens. You got to make the adjustment on the fly, or call your audible in business, and you got to roll with those punches. So don't listen to anyone. Take advice. It goes a long way. You know, listen to people who've been there.
Be coachable.
Yeah.
Be very coachable. Be very coachable. But don't be coachable to a point where someone tells you where they think you've maxed out, or this is your potential. This is where you can be based upon this, and this. Because to me, it's all horseshit. You know, you look at a guy like Jose Altuve, who's defined every odd there is to know in the game, or a guy like Spud Webb, or people that were told, you're not going to be anything. Mm-hmm. I've had the pleasure of meeting a guy named Rohan Murphy recently, who's a guy without any legs, who's a champion wrestler, and he's a motivational guy that speaks. And you want to talk about a guy that'll motivate you and really, really make you say thank you for your blessings. Here's a guy who has every reason in life to say it was unfair, and doesn't, and goes around inspiring others. So there's no excuses.
Yeah,
you want an excuse, you want to have a pity party, go buy a dog. Don't. That's the best way I can put it. Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
So let's wrap this up.
One last thing before we get out of here. I wanted to, just for anybody that might be listening, depending on the point that you might be in, it might be different than what you're thinking. But if you have, like, let's say you want to invest in something, or you want to try to start something, and for somebody that maybe, let's say, has $500, because I know that you have stuff in your house that if you really want to do something, you can sell it, and maybe you can come up with $500. What would you suggest? Like, what can you do with that money as opposed to throwing it away on something?
Well, define throwing it away. You have $500 to invest. That's what your starting capital is. First thing is you got to go and be realistic. What could you do with that money that's going to make? Just because you have it doesn't mean it's going to get you anywhere. Maybe you have to say that $500 goes here, and I'm going to put away another $20 a week, and in 1 year I'm going to have this much capital to do what I'd like to do. Or maybe you go work for someone else. I mean, you look at P. Diddy. Here's another great success story. Here's a guy who worked for a year for Russell Simmons for nothing. Guy's a billionaire now.
Give
you
it
hear
away
that
for
so
free.
much. People that are
Give it away for
successful
free.
that work for free.
Yes.
But did you work for free?
No.
You really
No.
didn't. What you did was you
Invest.
learned, and you got an internship from someone who's so much smarter and wiser,
Yes.
and you gotta know your place too. You gotta know your strengths and weaknesses. I don't pretend to know what my other partners know. I don't try and do my brother's job. He's very good at doing the finances and the books, and I don't pretend to be this know-all baseball guy like a Brad Jackson or a know-it-all in fitness and in fitness science or sports performance like a Chris Mano, or training people like Kelly. I know my strength is in being able to market and sell and motivate others, and every day go out there and try and be the best person I can, and hopefully people see that and want to give me their business, right? So my plug will be, right, next time you're looking for a good sports place, is
Definitely.
mxetraining.com or 1mrtraining.com. We really, really care about the success of our athletes, and most importantly, we want to see them succeed in whatever they do.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that's Max Effort.
That's
And
Max Effort Training, mxetraining.com, and One More Rep Athletics and Fitness, 1mrtraining.com.
So like we said, we're here in New York, in Long Island. And if you want to...
They're jumping into class tomorrow.
Yes.
Both of them are jumping into class. I'm excited about them in the class. 9 to 10, they're going to be... Kelly's going to be doing her Max Burn class, which is a lot of high interval intensity training with some light weights. And I think it's going to be a fun time. I'm looking forward to having these Arizonians in the house here in New York.
Yeah.
Nice.
Going to make us sweat. You got
There we
anything
go.
before we get out of here?
No, that's it.
That's it?
It's a
Thank you
great
so much.
podcast.
I thank you humbly thank you for the time, and even allowing me to be on your podcast, because it's always humbling to have someone want to hear what you want to say.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you.
we appreciate you
Thank
being on
you.
here. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you
So
for
yeah,
your
make
time.
sure you guys check Joe out. Make sure you guys go to trustinkusa.com, and you go to oppositesattractpod.com so you can subscribe to the show. Share it with the people that you know. And if any of you guys are business owners out there, this has been a great podcast. Make sure you share that, or any aspiring business owner, somebody that's
Yes.
just starting out, because I think there's a lot of stuff that we talked about here that
A
can help
lot.
somebody that, is maybe trying to build a business, going through some things. And then you can also see the other side.
You
And
can always email me with any questions. And I mean this, no strings attached. It's nice to see up and coming JP, letter J, letter P, at the number 1mrtraining.com. It's great to hear from other people and questions they have. And probably learn from you as much as you can learn from me. And a lot of times that's how success is done, when great minds come together.
There you
Yeah,
go.
awesome. Well, thank you for being with us,
Yes.
and
Have a great night.
Have a
Thank you
great
for your
night.
support. Love you guys.
we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.